Good afternoon, AISD parents and guardians. I'm Myra McLaughlin-Sutton, licensed master social worker with the Family and Community Engagement Department. I'm here with another installment of our Motivational Moments. January is recognized as Human Trafficking Month, and today I have Sonia Brooks, Director of Prevention Education with Unbound Now, North Texas. Today, she's going to provide valuable information about human trafficking. Unbound Now, North Texas is an anti-human trafficking organization founded in 2016. Since the beginning, it has been their aim to fight for the protection of the vulnerable, identify the exploited, and advocate for survivors on their path to restoration. Sonia, thank you for joining me today.
Myra, thank you for having me here today. Today, I would love to be able to shed some light on how human trafficking happens and hopefully to dispel some myths about human trafficking as well.
So Sonia, there's so much information out there about human trafficking. It's important that parents and guardians understand what human trafficking is. Can you first start by defining human trafficking?
Myra, that's a great question. So let's start. Human trafficking is actually what we call an umbrella term. So human trafficking consists of three different types of trafficking. We have sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and child sex trafficking. So the word human trafficking means whenever someone is tricked, forced, or manipulated into providing a commercial sex act or labor or services for someone else's financial gain. That's what we mean by the term human trafficking.
Okay. Thank you so much for explaining the various types of human trafficking. So let me ask you this. Is it true that girls are trafficked more than boys?
Myra, that is a complete myth. Remember when we started, I said I wanted to dispel some myths? That's a myth. Actually, boys are trafficked about 50% of the time. So when we think about human trafficking, boys and girls are trafficked. In fact, there was one study that said that boys are, again, trafficked about 50% of the time.
Wow, thank you so much for dispelling that myth. So now that we know what human trafficking is, those who are trafficked and taken advantage of for labor or services or commercial sex, and that both boys and girls can be trafficked, what are some risk factors that parents or guardians should be aware of?
Some of the significant risk factors include recent migration or relocation, substance abuse, mental health concerns, runaways, involvement in the children welfare system, lack of social support. Some kids who identify as LGBTQ plus, or a homeless youth. Often traffickers take advantage of their victims' vulnerabilities in order to create dependency. It's important that we remember that the absence of risk factors doesn't mean that a child can't be trafficked. No two cases of trafficking are precisely alike. And so that's why it's really important for school staff to work hard to overcome those stereotypes that they may harbor about the appearance of victims or traffickers.
All right. Thank you so much, Sonia, for giving us some important information about what people should look for and what those vulnerabilities look like. So tell us, what are some things that parents or caregivers or guardians can do to help protect children and youth from being exploited or trafficked?
Great question. We cannot help to stem trafficking if we don't know what it is. So the things that parents and caregivers can do to protect children and youth against trafficking are what we call protective factors. And some of those protective factors include safe housing, stable income, health care, child care. Parents and caregivers who provide these protective factors for their children are better positioned to provide safe and healthy environments for their children and actually buffer them from abusive situations such as trafficking. Caregivers can also buffer trafficking with healthy communication between themselves and youth and understand the impact of social media. And lastly, educate themselves to know the signs of exploitation and report it.
Right. Thank you so much. I know that communication is key. Keeping those lines of communication open with your young person in your house is so important. So Sonia, thank you so much for providing us this valuable information about human trafficking.
Thank you, Myra.
Thank you. So in the description box, we have provided you with resources and links for several organizations that can provide information and assistance on human trafficking. We want you to join us on January 11th by wearing blue in recognition of National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Again, I'm Myra McLaughlin Sutton, licensed master social worker with the Family and Community Engagement Department. And as always, I look forward to seeing you around Arlington ISD.